Most people don't quit learning a language because it's too hard. They quit because they can't stay consistent. You probably felt it yourself. You get really excited, you study hard for a week or two, and then life gets busy. The routine disappears, and suddenly you're not learning anymore. Hi, I'm Nick. I speak 4 languages, and I'm working on my 5th. And in this video, I'll show you how to actually stay consistent in language learning, even when motivation fades. Think back to school. Did you ever cram all night for a test? And maybe you passed the test, but a week later, you forgot half of it. That's what happens when you study in bursts. Language is built through repetition. 10 minutes a day beats 2 hours once a week. It's just like training for a sport. A little practice every day strengthens the muscle, but if you wait too long between sessions, you are always going to be starting from zero. Consistency isn't about having unlimited free time. It's about creating routines so small that skipping them feels harder than doing them. Waiting for your computer to start, that means you can write down one new word. If you're cooking dinner, then you can play a short podcast in your target language. If you're going for a walk, describe what you see around you. Even if it's just a few words, I call these micro routines. Tiny habits that fit into your life without effort. And once you start, you often end up doing more than you planned. Think of brushing your teeth. It's automatic. You don't need motivation because it's built into your day. Language learning can feel like that too once you've stacked it onto habits that you already have. For example, when I was studying Portuguese, I tied my practice to my commute. Every bus ride became listening time. Some days I didn't feel like it, but because I had my earbuds ready and the podcast queued up, I just pressed play. That habit carried me through weeks where my motivation was otherwise low. Your ideal study setup won't look like anyone else's. Some people focus best in silence, others with background noise. Some need a clean desk. If you'd been able to see my desk, you would have known I'm not one of them. And others, they can study sprawled on the couch. What matters isn't what's perfect, it's what makes you show up. For me, I don't care much if my workspace is clean, but I do need it to feel like my own space. And I like having 2 monitors when I study. That small detail makes a huge difference for my focus. Without that, something just feels off. So experiment, try silence versus music, morning versus evening, desk versus couch, and keep the things that lower friction and make starting easy. If you're stuck, think about how you like to relax. Do you usually watch videos in bed and try reading a short article in your target language? Or maybe just switch the language you're watching the video in. If you like going for walks, try narrating what you see out loud. You don't need to copy someone else's aesthetic study setup. You need the environment that keeps you coming back. One of the best things about Duolingo, despite its flaws, is the streak. People don't want to break it. That's the power of visible progress. And you can recreate that yourself. You don't need a fancy app. A notebook, a wall calendar, or even a sheet of paper works. Just mark each day you studied, even if it was only 2 minutes. Over time, those marks turn into a chain. Breaking the chain feels harder than keeping it alive. When I was trying to build up a streak of days that I'd spent learning French, I made a deal with myself that I would read at least 1 chapter of Master every day. Most days I would read more, but that was the bare minimum that I would do. And if I didn't feel like doing anything else after completing that, then that was completely fine. That's normal. The trick is to plan for it in advance. That's why you need a minimum routine. Something so small you can always do it. Read a single sentence, open your app and do 1 quick lesson. Listen to a song in your target language. It takes 2 minutes, but it keeps the chain alive. And often, once you start, you'll keep going. Longer than you planned. I'm still balancing first speed training and language learning. I can't always manage a full study session, but my bad day routine is just reading 1 page of a book. Some nights I only manage that page, but it still counts. And other nights I get hooked and keep on reading. The point isn't perfection, it is showing up. And if you want ideas for exactly what to do on those days, then that's why I built the Fluent Habits workbook. It is free and it gives you 30 days of small, doable tasks that keep you consistent even when life gets messy. You'll find the link in the description. And another thing that helps is building a consistency toolbox. Think of it like gear for training. For me, that includes a study playlist that I only play when I'm learning. The first song instantly puts me in the right mindset. If I'm feeling particularly productive, I will, during my study session, make flashcards of words that I encounter. That's only something I've started doing very recently though, as I'm trying to give Anki another fair shot. If that doesn't work for you, then don't force yourself to do it. That's the worst thing you could do. I also use timers. Setting a timer for 10 minutes turns study into a game. Can I focus fully until the bell goes off? Usually by the time it does, I'm into the flow and I keep going. You can build your own toolbox. Maybe it's a flashcard app, a podcast queue, or sticky notes around your house. Anything that lowers friction counts. Consistency also comes from reflection. Once a week, take 5 minutes to ask, what worked this week? What didn't? If you loved watching a show in your target language, then keep going with that show. If you avoid the grammar drills like the plague, drop them or replace them with something lighter. The goal isn't to force yourself into methods you hate. It is to build a routine you'll actually stick with. When I first started Portuguese, I thought I had to study grammar books, but I dreaded them. So that meant I stopped studying, and that break, it lasted for a good 6 months. I don't even remember why I came back, but I decided to do things differently when I did. Once I gave myself permission to read manga instead, I suddenly became consistent again. The manga was fun, and I was still learning. As a side note, there is almost no grammar that is needed for you to learn enough to hold a solid conversation in your target language. Please, please, please do not force yourself to use grammar books if you're anything like me. Consistency isn't about never missing, it's about bouncing back. And missing one day is nothing in the long term, but missing a week, it happens. What matters is that you return. Think of it like sports. If you skip a workout, you don't quit the season. You get back on the field the next day. Language learning is the same. Consistency comes from systems, not willpower. Build small routines and shape your environment. Track your progress and plan your bad day routine. Use the toolbox of cues and tricks to get started and reflect regularly so you stay aligned with what you enjoy. Most importantly, give yourself permission to keep it simple on tough days. The people who win at language learning aren't the ones who push the hardest for a week. They're the ones who keep showing up week after week, month after month. If you want a free 30-day guide to help you stay consistent, then grab the Fluent Habits workbook. Link in the description. And once you're ready for your next step, I recommend this video on what books to start with in a new language. It will give you a clear path to go from beginner material to reading real content.